Have you ever heard a story so chilling, so utterly terrifying, that it stays with you long after you've heard it? A story that blurs the line between history and legend, leaving you to wonder what's real and what's a nightmare. Today, we're journeying back to 9th century England, to a time of superstition, faith, and shadow, to uncover the horrifying tale of the Witch of Berkeley. This isn't just a campfire story. It's a tale recorded by medieval chroniclers, a story of a woman whose soul was allegedly dragged, screaming, into the depths of hell right before the eyes of terrified monks. Our story begins in the Saxon town of Berkeley, nestled in Gloucestershire. Here lived a woman of immense wealth and influence. On the surface, she was a respected figure, but behind closed doors, whispers of something far more sinister were brewing. The chronicler William of Malmesbury, writing centuries later but citing contemporary accounts, described her as a woman devoted to gluttony and wicked pleasures, a master of the dark arts. She wasn't just dabbling in magic. She was said to be a powerful sorceress, using ancient incantations to secure her wealth and power. People in the town both feared and revered her, knowing that crossing her could bring about a terrible fate. She was known to have a pet jackdaw, a bird often associated with omens and dark magic, which she would reportedly consult as if it were a familiar spirit whispering secrets from another world. As the years passed, the woman, now old and frail, felt the cold grip of mortality tightening around her. Her life of excess and dark deeds had taken its toll, and she knew her time was short. But it wasn't a peaceful end she foresaw. One day, her beloved jackdaw, her constant companion, began to caw and screech with an unnatural, terrifying intensity. The bird's cries were so frantic that it fell from its perch, dead. For the old woman, this was no mere coincidence. It was a dire omen, a sign from the supernatural world that her own end was imminent, and that the bill for her lifetime of sin was finally coming due. A chilling dread filled her. She knew that the forces she had dealt with in life would not let her go peacefully in death. Consumed by terror, she summoned her two surviving children, a monk and a nun. Her confession was not one of seeking forgiveness, but of desperate, calculated bargaining. She admitted to her life of wickedness, a life sustained by a pact with a demon. "My dear children," she pleaded, her voice trembling, "I am facing a terrible judgment. My body, which has been the vessel of so many sins, must be protected. You must try to save my soul, or at least my body, from the clutches of the devil." She then laid out a specific, bizarre set of instructions for her burial, a desperate plan to cheat hell itself. She believed that if they could secure her body, her soul might stand a chance, or at least be spared the ultimate defilement of being dragged away by demonic forces. Her children, horrified but bound by duty, agreed to carry out her final desperate wish. Her instructions were precise and macabre. First, her body was to be sewn into the hide of a stag. This was a pagan symbol, perhaps a last-ditch effort to use old magic to shield herself from Christian damnation. Next, this morbid parcel was to be placed inside a stone sarcophagus. But that wasn't enough. The sarcophagus itself was to be bound by 3 heavy iron chains, each one forged and blessed. Then, the entire tomb was to be laid in the center of the local church. For 3 nights, she commanded, monks were to hold a constant vigil, chanting psalms and celebrating mass around her coffin, creating a fortress of prayer to ward off the coming evil. She believed that if her body could survive these 3 nights untouched, the demons would lose their claim on her. It was a desperate gamble, a final stand against the abyss she had courted her entire life. As instructed, after she passed away, her children carried out the ritual. Her body was sealed in the stag's hide, locked in the stone coffin, and bound with the 3 massive iron chains. It was placed in the church, and the monks began their holy vigil. The air in the church was thick with tension, a mix of incense, fear, and fervent prayer. The first night passed with an eerie calm. The monks chanted, their voices echoing in the stone chamber, their eyes fixed on the chained sarcophagus. The flickering candlelight cast long, dancing shadows that seemed to writhe and twist in the corners of the church. But nothing happened. A small glimmer of hope began to bloom. Perhaps their prayers were working. Perhaps their mother's soul could be spared. The second night began much like the first. The monks continued their solemn chants, their resolve strengthened by the previous night's peace. But as the clock struck midnight, a palpable shift occurred. The heavy church doors, bolted from the inside, suddenly burst open with a deafening crash. A wave of demonic figures, described as grotesque and terrifying, swarmed into the sacred space. They laughed and jeered, their unholy voices mocking the monks' prayers. They lunged at the sarcophagus, their claws scraping against the stone. With a sound of screeching metal, the first of the 3 iron chains snapped as if it were thread. The demons then vanished as quickly as they had appeared, leaving the monks in a state of shock and terror, the broken chain a grim testament to the power they were facing. The fortress of faith was beginning to crumble. The third and final night arrived. The monks, though terrified, returned to their post. They knew this was the final battle for the woman's soul. The atmosphere was heavier than ever, charged with an almost unbearable dread. As midnight approached, the ground itself began to tremble. A sound, far more terrible than the night before, echoed from outside. A roar that didn't seem to belong to this world. The church doors were not just opened, but obliterated, torn from their hinges. And there, standing in the doorway, was a figure of pure nightmare. It was a demon of immense size and terrifying appearance, a king among the damned, riding a great black steed with eyes of fire. Some accounts even say it was the devil himself. The demonic entity strode into the church, its presence sucking all the light and warmth from the room. It ignored the cowering monks and pointed a single clawed finger at the sarcophagus. "Arise!" it boomed, its voice the sound of grinding stone and eternal despair. At its command, the remaining 2 iron chains shattered instantly. The heavy stone lid of the sarcophagus flew off and crashed against the far wall. The woman, who had been dead for 3 days, sat bolt upright. Her eyes were wide with a terror beyond human comprehension. The demon king addressed her by name, declaring that her pact was fulfilled and her time was up. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. The demon grabbed her, dragged her from the coffin, and threw her onto the back of its shadowy steed. As they galloped out of the church and into the night, the woman's horrified screams finally erupted. They were said to have been heard for miles around, a sound of pure, unadulterated agony that chilled the blood of everyone in Berkeley. The monks and townspeople who witnessed the event were left paralyzed with fear. The tale of the Witch of Berkeley became a grim warning passed down through generations, a testament to a woman who played with fire and was consumed by it, her soul claimed by the very darkness she had embraced. Whether a true account or a powerful medieval morality tale, the story of the Witch of Berkeley remains one of history's most terrifying legends. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the dark corners of history. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next dive into the unknown. Until next time, stay curious.